show for you guys today. We're going to do things a little different with some new segments, so we'll kind of explain those as we go along, just so everybody gets the hang of it. How's it going, Max?
It's going well, man. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Let's just jump right into it, man, with our first new segment. We're going to call it the injury report. All right, guys, this is just kind of where we're going to cover the injuries. Give you guys an update on some of the bigger names around the league. So I'll get right into that. Shohei Ohtani of the Angels, they're saying he might be due back in late April now from that Tommy John surgery. And Max, you want to add anything along here, just feel free to jump in, man. But we'll move right along to the Brewers here. Ryan Braun, he's day-to-day with a back injury. They did have some good news on Jimmy Nelson. He's nearing a rehab assignment. And then also Jeremy Jeffries rejoined the Brewers Tuesday off of his right shoulder injury. So they've got some help coming in the bullpen there.
Yeah, they're going to need Jeffries. Sorry, they just can't rush Jeffries because Knubel's out for the year. So,
right.
They really do. I mean, he's going to be necessary to come back. But like, if they rush him, he might be back on the IL.
Yeah. They don't need that. They need no help. They can get in the bullpen right now, like you said, with Knebel out. The Cubs, John Lester, they're saying possibly late April with that hamstring injury. The D-backs, their third baseman, Jake Lamb, they're talking mid-May maybe. He resumed some baseball activities this past week. For all you D-backs fans, that's some good news. The Dodgers, Cody Bellinger's just day-to-day. He's got a right knee bruise. He's been one of the hottest bats in baseball, so it's hard to see him go out even for a couple of days, but maybe good to give him a little rest. The Indians, they moved Mike Clevenger to the 60-day Sunday with that back strain. So that's some bad news for them. He'll be out for quite a while. And then on the flip side of that, though, Francisco Lindor had his first rehab assignment Monday, and he went 2 for 4 with a home run and a single. So that's some good news. Always a good thing to have him coming back. That's a really big bat in that lineup and a good defensive shortstop. So they're looking forward to get him back, and he's getting closer. Over in your division, the Mets are due to get Todd Frazier back this week from his oblique injury. I know your Nats, Turner's still out for a couple months with a broken finger. The Phillies.
Luckily for us. About that. Luckily for us, Howie Kendrick came back, and Michael A. Taylor came back, and Cody Glover, he's still on the 60-day IL, I believe, with some shoulder injury. Yeah, we're gonna need all the help we can get.
The Phillies just put David Robertson on the 10-day IL Monday with right elbow soreness as well. The Pirates, Gregory Polanco made his first rehab assignment on Monday. He had 2 RBIs. He's got that shoulder injury from last September where he had surgery on it. He's supposed to be due back late April as well. The Rangers have Ruffin Odor on a 10-day Saturday with a right knee sprain, and also Edison Volquez was transferred to the 60-day on Saturday with a right elbow sprain. So it's not really good news for the Rangers there. I don't think they're going to have a lot of good news this year anyway. Some really big news out of the AL East is Blake Snell was placed on a 10-day retro to Sunday. He was placed on it yesterday with a broken toe. That's a big loss for them because that's obviously their ace, Cy Young from a year ago. That's a big loss for them, especially coming up with some of the stuff we're going to talk about later. Also with the Red Sox, Brock Holt started his rehab this week. He had a scratched cornea from a ball. He got hit in the face, or hit in the eye, with a ball that his son threw at him, his 2-year-old son. So it's kind of a freak accident there. But he started his rehab this week. They've also got Andrew Benintendi listed as day-to-day. So, and then the Reds, Sonny Gray is supposed to make his start tonight. He was out with that calf contusion, but it looks like he's good to go tonight. And then some other good news for the Reds pitching staff. Alex Wood's due to throw off a mound on the 20th. He had some back soreness he was dealing with, but he's progressing from that. The Rockies, one of the guys they picked up, Daniel Murphy, he won't require surgery, but he's still due back in mid-May, so it's going to be a while on him. The Twins, Miguel Sano took BP Saturday, continuing rehab in Fort Myers, so he's also possibly back in May. So it's going to be just a little bit longer for him. That's a big bat for the Twins to get back. And then wrapping this up with the Yankees, Gary Sanchez was placed on a 10-day last Friday, retroactive to Thursday with a calf strain. But on the other side of that, Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Hicks are both hitting soft toss and hitting off tees in their rehab. So those guys are getting close. So that's kind of the bigger names from the injuries list for this week. You got anything else to add to that, Max?
No, you got most of the big names. So,
all right. Yeah, let's move right along. We're going to do – Max is going to get you guys on this. We're going to go with Around the Horn. It's going to be kind of our division roundup. Take it away, Max.
All right, so it's our new segment, as Kenyon said, Around the Horn. It's just going to be a rundown of the division for each week and how it's looking. And we're going to start with the American League. Tampa Bay Rays, 13-4. They've won 2 straight. They've been given opportunity if the Red Sox struggling, the Yankees full of injuries, and they've taken advantage. They have a 5.5 game lead over the Yankees. Yankees are 7-9. They're doing what they can with 12 players on the IL. Then you got Baltimore in third, Toronto, Boston. Moving over to the Central, Indians have reclaimed their division with a 10-7 record. They've won 2 straight. Then you got the Twins right behind them, 8-6. They're looking to make it back to the playoffs since 2017. It's going to be a tight race right now, especially with Lindor out. Then you got the Tigers playing 500 ball. The White Sox and the Royals rallying it up. They're going to be battling for last place probably. Moving over to the West, you got the Astros on their ridiculous 10-game winning streak right now. We talked about it in our first 2 shows earlier. And, yeah, it was definitely an overreaction when they struggled. They're back, and I don't see them relinquishing their division the rest of the year. You got the Mariners. They've been struggling. They've lost 5 straight, 13-7 still. Rangers 9-7, few injuries as Canyon went over. They're going to be falling back soon. Athletics playing 500 ball. Then you got the Angels 8-9. They were on their hot streak. Trout went out. Definitely struggled because of that. Moving on to the NL, you got the NL East, competitive as always. Phillies 10-6. Mets right behind them 10-7. Braves 9-7, Nats 7-8. Nats, as long as they can fix their bullpen, they'll be at the thick of it. This will be a 4-man race to the very end. And then you got the Marlins, already 4-14, battling for first pick in the draft. Moving over to the Canyons division, Brewers are 12-6. They've won 2 straight over the Cardinals. Pittsburgh's 9-6. They picked up a much needed win over 2. They took 2 3 from the Nationals. Cardinals 9-8. They've lost 2 straight to the Brewers. Then you got the Reds you got the Cubs 7-9. They're still trying to find themselves. We'll see what happens with them. You got the Reds. After starting 1-8, they're 5-11. They've lost 3 straight. But once this offense picks up and if their pitchers can continue to do what they're doing, they'll be battling for a winning record, and we might see them come down to the wild card. Then you got the surprise over in the NL West. You got the Padres 11-8. Even though they've lost 3 straight. Tied with the Dodgers 11-8. Won 3 straight. Should be the Dodgers division. We'll see what happens. Diamondbacks 8-9. Giants 8-10. Rockies 6-12. Hopefully the Rockies can turn it around after making the playoffs 2 years in a row. They have the talent to do it. We'll see what happens. And that's your Around the Horn for this week.
All right, man. Now we're going to go straight into our middle of the order. This is going to be the big stories from this week. So we'll jump right in off the bat with Mike Trout. He returned to the Angels on Monday after a week off. In his first 2 games back, he's gone 1-6 with 3 walks in those 6 at-bats. So what do you think that kind of impact that's going to have for the Angels?
If he continues to be slow, they're just going to fall out of the playoff race, even though it's super early. Like, they're on their hot streak. I believe they won 5 straight, and then he got hurt. They expected him only to miss a game or 2. He missed a week, and it was a groin injury. And we all know those can linger, even though he says he's better. And if it continues to linger and he goes back on the IL, they will miss the playoffs, especially with Shohei out and Justin Upton still on the IL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you nailed it. I think you nailed it because, like you said, they were on a hot streak. Then he went out. It really hurt. And now he's kind of got out of the swing of things, it seems like, going 1 for 6. If he stays slow for a while, it could really hurt him. If they lose 4 or 5 in a row, it could really put him in a hole over there in the West with how hot the Astros have been. So,
yeah, especially if the Mariners continue to win games, that's who they're going to have to compete against for that wild card.
Right. Yeah, that kind of takes us right into our second biggest story here is the Astros. They have, like you mentioned, they won 10 straight. They've been the hottest team in baseball right now. They took the lead in the West. Everything's kind of coming together for them. Like you talked about, we mentioned in some previous shows, it's their division to lose. They struggled a little bit right out of the gate, but they're showing why they're gonna be a World Series contender again this year. Well, what are your thoughts on the Astros right now?
I still don't understand why they started so slow, but it doesn't really matter because they've picked up. I chose them to be in the World Series from the American League from before the season started, and they're living up to their top billing right now. I just want to see how far this winning streak can go because the way they're playing does not seem like they're going to slow down anytime soon. Think
Yeah, and then
they have it in them right now to break the record?
I don't know. It's kind of crazy to see a team this hot this early in the year. I know, like really early, obviously right out of the gate they were pretty slow, but it's still early in the year and they won 10 straight. So, I mean, it could happen because there's still some teams out there trying to find themselves. So if they can take advantage of those games, win games they should. Yeah, I mean they could make a run at it. They're that good. I think the pitching rotation's that good. The offense is clearly really good. So anything can happen, right?
No, I agree with that.
Now, sticking kind of in the West, the Mariners, although they've lost 5 straight games, Jay Bruce hit a home run against the Indians last night in the 8th inning. It extended their record home run streak to 20 games. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I believe the record was held by the Cardinals beforehand, and they have shattered it. And it's funny that they're still hitting home runs despite the losses, but that just shows how much power they have in this lineup. And hopefully this power can help correlate to more wins because they're going to need all of them with the tough American League they're in. But no, it's just impressive to watch right now. And literally anyone can come up and hit a home run at any time, from Jay Bruce to some of their young guys to even like D Gordon has enough power in him to hit one against an unsuspecting pitcher. So it's very impressive to see what they've been doing.
Yeah, and I don't think at the beginning of the year, especially when no one really knew what they were doing in the offseason, you could have told me they were going to be 13-7 right now after their first 20 games and have this home run streak going on. I probably would have laughed at you, but they're right there in the thick of it still. I mean, they have lost 5 in a row, but they played well enough out of the gate that they're only a half game back of the Astros. So, I mean, they could find themselves right in the middle of it if they can kind of tread water while they're struggling right now. If they can get back on track, they could find themselves probably not in the division hunt because the Astros, like we said, probably going to take that division, but definitely a wild card contender if they can keep this up.
And especially if the Yankees' injuries just overwhelm them and the Red Sox never pick it up, and it will literally just be a race between them and the Twins, pretty much. And that's good odds.
Let's kind of shift gears, go to the National League here. One of the hottest bats in baseball right now, Christian Yelich. He leads the National League with 9 home runs and 25 RBIs. 8 of his home runs have come against the Cardinals. Actually, 4 of them in the last 2 days, and 10 of those RBIs in the last 2 days. He's slashing 357. Oh.
Sorry, but so watching this, how does it make you feel as a Cardinal fan to see him do this?
You just keep pitching to him, man. It's like flashbacks from the 2013 World Series with David Ortiz. They just keep pitching to him, and he keeps hitting the ball over the fence. You leave a pitch up to him, he's going to hit it out. I don't know. That's all there is to it. I mean, he's slashing 357, 456, 800 right now. He's looking like the MVP again. He's been one of the hottest players in baseball.
Yeah, and we said it last show that the fact that people said his MVP was a fluke is ridiculous.
Like he's absolutely tearing it up again this year.
He's definitely put all those people to rest with his hot start. Do you think he will be able to continue his success against the Cardinals, or do you think they're going to finally realize we need to stop pitching it up to him and find a way to get him out?
It's hard to say. I think he's just one of those guys that's going to have their number, even if for this year. Hopefully, they'll just start walking him. It'll be like a Barry Bonds thing. Every time he comes up, they'll just intentionally walk him. Like, bases loaded, just go ahead and put him on kind of deal. But, yeah, I think he probably keeps it up because he's just that good of a hitter. And it seems like he's the kind of guy for the Cardinals that he's the one guy in their lineup you don't want to beat him, and then he's the one guy you make your worst pitch to of the whole night, and he hits it out. So it's kind of a mental game for the Cardinals too right now when a guy's tearing you up this bad. So it's going to be interesting to watch for the rest of the year, especially since they're in this division rivals and everything. So, but yeah, he's been a monster. Like you said, he's silencing all those people from last year. It said his MVP was a fluke, and he could take 2 weeks off right now and come back and pick it up again, and his numbers would be just fine. That's how good he's been at the beginning of the year.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, so then the next one, pretty big story. Going back to the American League, Chris Davis finally broke his 0 for 54 slump. Went 3 for 5 against the Red Sox of all teams. That just shows how much they've been struggling. 3 for 5, 4 RBIs, and a 9-5 win. What is your take on this?
Well, I think I picked him to like break 60 games last week.
Yeah.
So he proved me wrong. I don't know. What if this starts the old Chris Davis coming back? I mean, it probably won't. How do you go 0 for 54 and then have one good game and break out of it? But sometimes that's what it takes to hitting one home run and seeing it go over the fence.
And then he hit his first homer, I believe it was yesterday. Hit his first homer of the season, so his power maybe coming back. Because it's funny, he goes 3 for 5, then the next day has another 0 for, and then he hits a home run the next day.
Yeah.
So maybe is this he's back?
I mean, I guess it could be. He was a really, really dangerous hitter for 2 or 3 years there. And then like last year he just fell off a cliff, but maybe he's gonna get it figured out. I'd like to see it for the guy, but we'll see. So also in that division you just kind of mentioned it showed how much the Red Sox are struggling that Chris Davis hit them like that. Struggling might be an understatement for them because again they've lost back-to-back to the Orioles and the Yankees. They're 7.5 games out, like you mentioned earlier. And one of their key starting pitchers, Chris Sale, the ace of the staff right now. He's 0 for 4 with an 8.5 ERA and just 14 strikeouts. So that's kind of a good indication of how much they're hurting. And they do have, mentioned it earlier, they have the 2 guys on the DL. Benintendi's day-to-day, and then they have Holtz on the DL. So it'll help them when they get those two guys back. But, yeah, they're just really hurting right now.
And it's funny because I'm pretty sure Mookie Betts and Martinez are still doing what they do. But I guess the rest of the team, like the pitching and the bullpen is hurting now that they lost Joe Kelly and Kimball.
Yeah.
And their ace can't do anything. He has the same amount of losses this year as he did last year. Just think about that. Like, that's insane. He had 4 losses total last year, and he's 0-4 to start the season now. Like,
yep.
And I saw a quote from him today, and he literally just was like, "I stink." Like he doesn't even know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He at least acknowledges that it is not good.
Yeah, and even David Price had a good game the other night. They still got beat. So It seems like if it's not the pitching, it's the offense. If it's not the offense, it's the pitching. One of those kind of deals for them right now. So maybe they can. I still think they'll get it sorted out, but if they continue to struggle like this for very much longer, the Rays keep playing well, then it's going to be really hard. It's already going to be hard to climb out of a 7.5 game hole. But
I was a little off. Mookie Betts is hitting .212 with 3 homers and 7 RBIs. I guess he's not doing as well as I thought. Like, I haven't really been paying attention to the Red Sox. Like, I know they've been struggling, but like I just assumed that their MVP would continue to do good things. But his batting average has just April 5, he was hitting .289, and he's just gone down since. Now he's hitting .212.
Yeah, I think it's just across the board for them right now. Everybody's struggling. It's one of those streaks are contagious kind of things. So, yeah.
Like, everyone slumps in baseball, but it just does not help if everyone slumps on your team at the same exact time.
At the same time, yeah. And it's you usually see good teams like this well-rounded that if the offense is struggling, the pitching will pick it up. If the pitching's struggling, the offense will pick it up. But right now they've both been bad. So
yeah. The only bright spot is Martinez. He is hitting .338 with 3 homers, 9 RBIs, and an OPS of .952.
Yeah. But so he's trying to do it all by himself, I guess, but clearly that's not working for him.
Take it from Mike Trout, one person cannot carry a team in the sport of baseball, at least.
Right. Yeah. if that was the case, the Angels would have a couple World Series by now.
Yeah, they would have won every year.
Yeah. So moving on to this next one, I know you're going to want to talk about this. Anthony Rendon and the Nats reopened extension talks. So why don't you give us a little bit of insight on that?
And most players don't want to do extension talks during the season. Right. They just want to focus on the season. Rendon was like, yeah, I don't care. Like, if you want to continue the talks in the season, let's do it. About a month ago, they gave him an offer. He said no, and then talks just died down. Tuesday, turns out, according to the Washington Post, talks have reopened. Anthony Rendon is off to his best start of his career. He might finally make the All-Star game. It's insane. He's never made one, even though he's finished twice in the top 12 for MVP voting. Yeah. Finished 12th and finished 6th, but no All-Stars. And now he's hitting over 400. He's just single-handedly carrying our offense. I hope they get this extension done. I know originally he wanted Jose Altuve money, which is $160. And that Nolan Arenado extension kind of threw everyone off because they're like, wow, their baseman can make this now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's hitting .397 with 6 bombs, 18 RBIs, and an an OPS of 1.308.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I hope they get the talks done. They're going to have to find the middle. The Nationals cannot afford to lose their 2 superstars back to back. Like, if they do that, like, who would want to come to this team then?
Right.
So this is huge pinnacle moment for the Nationals for the next 5 to 6 years. They need to keep one of the homegrown talent, and Rendon is just pay the man his money. Like, our owners are billionaires. It is not going to affect you. You want to win a World Series, give him the money, and he will continue to produce. I don't think he's Chris Davis. I don't think he's the type of guy who's going to get his money and just drop off. I think he's going to continue to do this. He's only 28 years old. Turns 29 this year. He is playing the best baseball of his life, and he still has 3 to 5 years left of his prime. Give him the money. What is your thoughts on this?
I think everything you said is important for the Nationals. I also think this is really important for the MLB market in general because you've seen all these guys take extensions coming off the market for this next offseason. Rendon's kind of he's one of the only big names left, especially offensively. So if the Nats can get this done and, like you said, give him the money that he's wanting, and it may be even one of those deals where, since it is his hometown team, he does take a little bit of a discount because, like they say, no one loves you like your home team. So it could be one of those deals. But if they do get something done, this is going to be a big hit for some of the teams out there looking for offense on the market next offseason. I know it happened with Arenado. That's going to happen with Rendon. And I mean, we talked about it last week. The guys have been signing extensions, so this would be another really big extension, taking him off the market for next offseason.
Because you guys locked up Goldschmidt, they locked up Arenado. Like, that's 2 of the big bats. So yeah, you're right. This is like the top bat left on the market, and he has the talent to be a Gold Glover. He just hasn't won. He plays the same position as Arenado. Not his fault. Arenado is just a freak.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes it difficult is he's a Scott Boras client.
Yeah. Yep. So you know he's going to get his money.
Yeah.
Or he's going to hold out.
Yeah. The only thing is Rendon literally said in an interview this, contrary to the popular belief, we don't work for Scott Boras. He works for us.
Yeah, right.
So hopefully Rendon I don't think he doesn't deserve 270, but they should. I think he's more than 160. Give him 200. I think that is the perfect number.
He's a 200 player. Yeah.
And then he'll just continue to produce. But anyways, that's just my thought.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. So it kind of wraps up our middle of the order. That brings us to our next segment we're going to call Bring in the Heat. This is going to be me and Max are going to take one, and this is going to be kind of the theme for the next 3 segments here. We're each going to pick our best pitching matchup, and we're going to try to pick different ones. Sometimes you just can't, though. But we're going to try to pick different ones. This is going to be our best pitching outing of the past week since our last show. So, Max, who do you got?
All right, I chose James Paxton. Last night, he threw 8 shutout innings against the Red Sox, gave up 2 hits and a walk, struck out 12. They won 8-0.
Yeah, that's a good game for him.
Yeah, Paxton has now brought his where is it? Paxton is now 2-2 with a 3.91 ERA and 31 strikeouts. He struggled to start the season. He had a bad outing against the Astros that kind of like skewed his ERA, but this really helps. And the Yankees, they need him to pick it up with Severino out. Like Sabathia just returned, but Sabathia had his injury, so of course they're going to ease him back. They need Paxton to do what he did with the Mariners last year while they wait for Severino. Who did you choose this week?
So I've got Kenta Maeda. He picked up his third win Tuesday against the Reds. He went 6 2/3. He only gave up 4 hits and 1 run. He only struck out 5 batters. And he did walk 3, but that's a really good lineup over there. And like you said, once they get on the Reds, they're going to be a dangerous team. They already have a lot of guys you can't make mistakes to. So I thought that was a really impressive outing for Maeda, especially to pick up his third win of the season this early on. So, and that was a big game for the Dodgers too. Like, they're battling with the Padres right now. So I know that sounds weird, but you want to win games every time you can. So that was a big outing for Maeda Tuesday. Let's jump right into our next one. Like I said, it's going to kind of continue the theme. We're going to call this one Flash in the Leather. So this is going to be our best defensive plays of the past week. We'll each pick one. I'll start this one off. The Yankees third baseman Gio Urshela, he backhanded a ball down the line. Right on the third baseline. He slipped and went into foul territory. It was almost kind of like a Machado thing where he kicked the ball around, but he slipped and fell, and he still threw a rocket over to first base on a line to throw out Mookie Betts. It was really impressive. You guys should look it up. I wish we could show it on here for you, but it was MLB.com labeled it as a Play of the Year candidate. It was that good. Just the throw alone was so impressive. I mean, backhanding the ball down the line wasn't that great, but to fall down and still throw out a guy like Mookie Betts on the line, it's a really impressive play. So, who do you got, Max?
This one's going to make you sad, but I got Lorenzo Cain. He robbed Matt Carpenter of a home run. This is the second time he's robbed the Cardinals of a home run this year, and that definitely helped the Brewers win. I don't remember what the score of the game was. I don't know, like, if this had any outcome, if it was like a blowout or not. But, like, it's just – I don't understand how Lorenzo Cain doesn't have a single Gold Glove. And he's doing stuff like this on a nightly, like, basis.
Really thought he would win one last year.
Yeah, that was my snub for last year, but that's a different story. Did you watch this live?
No, I didn't see it live.
Well, that might have been good for you.
Yeah, it probably was. The Jose Martinez one I saw live, that was into the game.
Yeah.
Tiebreaker, or it was a game-tying shot that he robbed. This one wasn't quite the same situation, but anytime you can do that, especially twice in the same team, that's crazy. That's like Jim Edmonds in the Reds back in the day. He used to rob them home runs all the time.
Yeah, I know Rob will love that. Routines, like, it's right, but yeah, for some people, it's like, you know, they rob a home run, they're like, oh, that was awesome. For Lorenzo Cain, he's like, oh, I do this like once a week.
Yeah, it's like old news.
Like, really,
just another play. So yeah, our next one. Again, this is going to be the third one with kind of the same deal. We're each going to pick one. It's called Bring in the Lumber. So this is going to be our best games at the plate from the past week. Max, why don't you start this one off?
All right, we touched on it earlier. I had to do it. I chose Chris Davis. He finally broke the streak. He went 3 for 5, 4 RBIs, and 9-5 win over Boston. Is he back? We don't know. He might be. I know for now that Boston just needs to hand the keys over to Chris Davis because he's now the mayor. Who did you choose for this week?
Speaking of mayors of cities, I've got Christian Yelich. He's probably the mayor of Boston, but he's definitely owns the Cardinals. On Monday, he went 3 for 4 with 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. Yeah, that's one game. That's a good week for most guys. I had 2 3-run shots and 1 solo shot. And that's not to mention that the next night he came back and hit another home run against the Cardinals. So
that 7 RBIs tied a team record for most RBIs in a game.
He hit 3 3-run shots in 2 days against the Cardinals. With this one, he hit 2, and they were both big, important home runs too. So it's not like they were in a laugh or anything. I think the game, it was a 10-7 final. So all those RBIs were important. What's that?
Do you remember who was pitching?
I don't remember who gave them up to him now.
Okay.
All three. It was hard to keep track of all 3 of them. and then the one
I
yesterday
understand.
too. He's hit. So we mentioned it earlier. He's hit 8 of his 9 home runs against the Cardinals. It's been ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like the same for Lorenzo Cain. Like everyone's like, "Oh, I hit a 3-run homer," and Christian Yelich like, "Oh, I do that like every time I play the Cardinals." It's just like old news to him, also.
I do that twice a game. What are you talking about? You stick to Robin home runs. I'll hit the 3-run shots.
Right, and then it's like they have it. They know it works, and it just does it. It's fun for them.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So that kind of wraps up those 3. We're going to try to do that every week. It's going to be a fun little segment for us. We're going to move on to what's on deck. This is going to be, we're going to kind of pick a big series coming up for the next week. I'm going to go ahead and take the Rays versus the Red Sox. They start Friday. That's going to be a big series because we talked about the Rays are in first place. The Red Sox are in last place. If this goes bad for the Red Sox, they could really put them in a hole. On the other hand, if they end up sweeping the Rays, they could be 4.5 games back. It just depends. This is going to be a really big series early on for them. Division rivals. They're going to be battling. It's likely that they're going to be battling for that first place spot later in the year with the Yankees as well, if not the wild card spot. So never a light series when you're facing one of the best teams in your division.
All right, so then I chose one that kind of started last night. I chose Mets Phillies, the 2 best teams in the National League for right now.
Mm-hmm.
And game 1 did not disappoint, man. The Mets won 7-6 in 11 innings. You got 2 more games to see what happens. This is a Mets chance to put some breathing room for them because the Nats are 7-8 and only 2.5 games back to first place. So like it's that close, and we have a losing record. So the Mets, if they can sweep the Phillies, they can show everyone who's the boss right now. And it's funny because the Mets don't even have Yoenis Cespedes or Jed Lowry right now, and they're still doing this with their super pitching staff. Edwin Diaz got yet another. Did you get the save or did you get the win? I got the win last night actually. But anyways, he had a 1-2-3 inning. He has been perfect. Oh, he got the save. He got his 6th save of the year. Nishek got the loss. Avalon got the win. And this matchup, like, it was really good pitchers last night. It was Syndergaard versus Nola, and they just were not themselves. Syndergaard gave up 9 hits, struck out 9, but gave up 5 runs through 5. And Nola gave up 5 runs through 4 with 6 strikeouts and 7 hits.
You don't expect that from those guys.
No, but like their offenses are just so stacked. So the next 2 games, we'll finish it out. Very must-watch baseball for right now.
All right, that takes us into our final segment. We're going to wrap this up with the hot corner. So this is going to be our hot takes for the upcoming week. I'll let you lead this one off, Max. What do you got? What's your hot take for this upcoming week?
All right, so for the week, like by the time our show commences next week, the Orioles will have a winning record for their next 8 games. They got 2 games against the Rays, 3 against the Twins, 3 against the White Sox.
Okay, that's doable.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a winning record coming out of that stretch. You do have to face Jose Barrios with the Twins, which is going to be tough. I think they can sweep the White Sox. And if they do that, and if they can steal 1 from the Rays, then this is very manageable. But I'm going to put it up a step. I have them winning the last 2 games against the Rays.
Okay.
I dare. I said it. Let's see what happens. Baltimore, just like, please become the mayor of just like the AL East. Like, you've already owned New York early on. You just
already own the Yankees, yeah.
Davis like owns Boston. Just like make it like a clean sweep of the top 3 teams. What's your hot take for the week?
Okay, so I'm also in the AL East. I'm kind of playing off my what's on deck, that big series. I'm going to say the Rays sweep the Red Sox and push them to 10 games back. They're just going to really bury the Red Sox in the division. They can still come back from it. They can pull the Dodgers from last year kind of deal. But I think the Rays are going to sweep them as much as they've been playing well, and the Red Sox have been struggling. I think that's going to be a big, big series for the Rays. I think they're going to push the Red Sox to 10.5 games back, whatever it's going to be after tonight. That's my hot take. Rays sweep the Red Sox. So that's pretty much – yeah. That's going to be our show for this week, guys. That's kind of going to be how we're going to try to do it from now on. So we hope you guys stick with us. We should be back on again next week. thanks everybody for checking us out. Again, like I said, be sure to check us out again next week. So thanks for being here, guys.
Have a good one. Thank you.